Mister Young and FRGN.
Kick to the gut!
Kick to the gut.
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 Kick to the gut. Kick to the gut.
Kick to the gut.
Hey, kick to the gut.
Kick to the gut.
Kick to the Gut podcast.
Kick to the gut podcast.
Kick to the gut.
Your podcast sucks!
Hey, how we doing, huh? It's a wet Monday, but hey, don't worry. We are here once again to talk all about wrestling. It's Mr. Young.
And it's FRGN in the building. Bro, 1 week since SummerSlam. How you feeling? How's your post-SummerSlam come down?
Well, I suppose you could say that we kind of hit our limit when it came to pro wrestling, right? Because not only was there SummerSlam, there was NXT, there was AEW Rampage, CM Punk. The hype was at a peak. And what happens after the peak? You deflate a little bit. And it reflected in the programming in the past week, I have to say.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're talking about deflation. I mean, that sounds just like my sex life, but sure. Let's continue.
TMI, bro. TMI. Just revealed a little bit too much.
Yeah, but the thing is, right, you said there's like a calm down in so-called excitement and action.
Yeah.
I guess it was much needed, but you can tell also that WWE is really shifting gears and All Elite Wrestling is shifting gears towards a big event, huh?
Yes, which is obviously a good thing for us wrestling fans, you know. Whenever you get a week to breathe like that, you just know that, okay, that means that something else is coming up on the horizon. And that's what we want to talk about here today. By the way, thank you so much for hanging out with us. In case you have to run off for lunch or whatever the case may be, don't forget, you can always check the video on demand on YouTube, or if you want to listen in your car or while you're exercising, foreign sexy voice motivates you to run faster, maybe, you know. Then you can check out the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you get your wonderful podcasts.
Yeah, man. Hey, is it me, bro, or has it been raining a lot here in Singapore?
So, I actually talked about it on the show today, on my radio show, Cheap Plug, Power 98 Love Song, 6 to 9 a.m. weekdays. Now with podcasts on the Kemokakis app, by the way.
Oh, lama. Okay,
yeah,
that
please,
sounds good.
Do us a favor, do Mr. Young a favor, go to the Kemokakis app if you haven't already downloaded, go to the interview section of the podcast, go to Oh For The Love of Life, that's my other podcast, hit follow, baby.
Yo, you know Mr. Young will always represent his podcast game, bro.
Hell yeah. And then if you like to watch video gaming, you can go to just sell everything. Sell.
Gym Connect, carry on.
Must plug. On Twitch, I play video games 4 times a week. Mr. Young 98. That's MisterYoung 98. FRGN, I feel like now is your time to pitch something also because I feel very bad.
Oh, no problem, bro. Okay, so yeah, for FRGN, life is good. In a couple of months, I just actually did a music video recently, bro.
Shit, what?
I actually shot an MV, yes. So
okay.
FRGN's gonna really be releasing new music soon. So look out for that at the end of the year, the last quarter of 2021. Yeah. So back to my music game, bro.
You dangling that tease, bro, like NXT be dangling something that's coming soon, and I suppose that will be our first topic of discussion today, won't it?
Yeah, of course, bro. Speaking of dangling, bro.
Dangling, yes.
Yeah, like my sex life also a bit of dangling right now.
Hey, bro,
okay,
anyway. That's twice you've brought that up. Okay, see, on no other podcast do you get your dose of wrestling plus FRGN sex life and sexy eyebrows.
No. Okay, but I was trying to bring it in conversation to the weather, right, bro? You know, the reason why, right? Because you're talking about how wrestling follows the weather. I feel like we've left the summer of Cena. Maybe now is the fall of CM Punk.
You said it, not me. You say you are the CM Punk fan, okay? Not me, and then you go and say fall of CM Punk.
I mean the weather lah. I don't mean his career, but I mean who knows, right? Who knows?
Talking about the weather, it was super hard. I mean, this is not pro wrestling talk, but I'm like, it was so hard to wake up today. I know, it's like privileged things lah. You get to work from home, Mr. Young. Why you want to talk so much, you know? But it was super hard to get up, bro.
No, I understand, bro. I understand because I think the great thing about weathers, right, is like your mood sets the tone of the day, but the weather also sets the tone of your mood to start the day.
Yeah, exactly, right? So if you wake up like, you just have no motivation to get out of bed, then you're going to have a rough, lazy, sort of a procrastination day. I feel like I might have had that today. But anyway, no, we are kicking things into high gear right now. It's the podcast, baby. Let's go. Okay, Fazli, what's up, man? Thanks for dropping by the chat. Anytime you want to, please say hi in the chat. We'd love to interact and all that. And do us a favor, hit that like. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe on the YouTube channel. Okay, first things first, I want to show you something. And let's see if... Okay. Your screen's a little bit off, but it's okay. It's okay.
It's all good.
You're like slipping, bro. You're slipping. Woo. Okay, I'm not going to play the music because it might be copyrighted. But this is the big teaser that was released earlier last week. Look at all those splashes of paint. So much color. NXT coming.
Bro.
It looks like a unicorn is coming. Anyway.
It looks like a Nickelodeon channel promo, bro.
It does, doesn't it? Okay. First impressions, when you saw it for the first time, what came to mind? Because, okay, understand this, right? From a marketing point of view, first impressions count. You know, this is what is going to be plastered everywhere, shown to the audience, and people are immediately going to draw whatever assumptions, conclusions they want. Based on that, like, you need to take us out of it because we've been watching the product forever. So we're like, we got this thought, that thought. What was your first impression?
It's not just about what I saw; it's about what I heard, bro.
Okay.
Because yes, of course, you didn't play the music, but you know, when we think of NXT, you always think about this gritty, underground, indie, metal.
Yeah.
You know, like super, like it's very niche, and it's almost as if, right, it's not just a throwback from all the rest of the WWE product, but it's almost an antithesis. Like, it doesn't feel like a WWE product, right?
Yep.
And maybe from watching this, like, if I don't know anything about it at the first time, yes, this looks like a WWE developmental. The hip hop music feels modern because right now, whether you want to admit it,
it's hip hop, bro. It's hip hop.
Yeah, hip hop is the mainstream.
Yeah.
Metal is not. Maybe 20 years ago, Limp Bizkit was on the radio. Yes, that new metal shit all felt mainstream and relevant.
Yeah.
But right now, it's almost as if like WWE is in its bid to modernize NXT, try to make it more of like the mainstream conscience. So the music definitely was the thing that kind of like was the biggest change, because I can't imagine the old NXT having a lot of hip hop stuff.
Well, I mean, okay, to be fair, it did have some. I mean, you look at Hit Row right now as well. That's a very hip-hop infused group, you know. Perfect for this iteration of NXT, perhaps. But look at the colors, right? You're going to jump into the colors. I was like, oh, wait, it's AEW Dynamite. No. Remember when AEW did their whole like kaleidoscope of colors and it was so colorful, but then it was actually a grittier show. So it feels like, to me, WWE is completely distancing themselves away from that, like you said, that metal, underground, indie vibe. I mean, we read the comments about how the CWC looks very much like an indie show. It's very dark. So once the new colors and the new set shows up, I am expecting bright colors. You know what it is? It's very Disney. You know?
Okay.
And in a lot of ways, to me, this makes sense. Why are you trying to compete in a realm that you are not supposed to be competing in? Why aren't you tapping on your actual skills and what you are presenting on Raw and SmackDown? For example, you know, is Disney going to spend money in making indie films? No. Why? Just make nothing but big budget, and the returns will be much higher as well. You know, as opposed to catering to this niche audience. And now that AEW is here, let them do it lah, so they can cater to their audience, you know, which is slightly more niche. Meanwhile, WWE is, all right, you see all these kids, you see all these parents, that's how much dollars, that's how many tickets, how much merchandise I can sell. Let's target them. Let's target the mainstream, forget about the quote-unquote small niche hardcore diehards.
If nothing else, I feel like they are more aligning towards the vision of what WWE wants to be.
Yeah.
Whether it's just the colors feel very kid friendly. That's one thing. Whether it's the music, the aesthetic, that's also very in line with what's mainstream right now. And of course, the big news, Nick Khan, you know, getting interviewed by Ariel Helwani. We kind of touched on it last week. But what they're saying that is they want to focus more on their homegrown talent as opposed to indie wrestlers. So what I'm just thinking about all this is just basically WWE just homogenizing what is considered popular in the mainstream.
Yeah.
And they are assuming an indie wrestler is not gonna be what they are looking for.
No, and you know what? In a lot of ways, I'm okay with this. As in, now that, okay, I wouldn't be okay with it if there was no AEW. Let's put it that way. Now that there is an alternative, it's like, okay lah. If I want a grittier, more like 10,000 flips per match type product, I can watch AEW, you know?
Yeah, it kind of, it forces the viewer to choose. If for nothing else.
Yeah.
And this is also can be this clash of philosophy between AEW and WWE, right? Can almost, it's like this litmus test to see what style really, really works.
Bro, this is Marvel versus DC is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the DC movies are all like gritty, or were anyway, gritty and like brooding and bullshit and all over the place. Whereas Marvel is like all, hey, look at all our bright superheroes, right? So, okay, it's not exactly the case, but you get my point in terms of the aesthetic, right?
Yeah. So my question to you, bro, as a wrestling fan, as a viewer with these two options, which product would you be more suited towards? Like your own preferences?
Shit. No, so here's the thing. This is all just a branding thing. When you boil down to each segment, each wrestler, there will be representation from both sides. Let's face it.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean? It's all this is marketing. At the end of the day, on WWE, you will still have your slightly more like, you know, indie style wrestlers. It's still going to exist. Maybe a lot less, but it's still going to be there. Whereas AEW, you still have your big colorful characters, but those aren't like front and center. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And also, I feel it is such an interesting dynamic because it's almost as if those wrestlers with gimmicks, now they don't want to really kind of hone it in so-called AEW because they know AEW won't focus on gimmick wrestlers, right? They will focus on work rate stuff.
Wait, hang on. No, what are you talking about? Well, maybe on AEW Dark or Elevator. I mean,
what I'm saying is because
Orange Cassidy, those are all gimmicks.
They are, but I feel like they are wrestling centric gimmick. Does it make like do you know what I mean? Like it's for people in the know. But I feel like WWE wants to have a gimmick that is very accessible.
Yeah. It's like anybody can watch and say, oh, okay, I get it. And
they get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like right off the bat, we said this. It's a PG product versus I don't know, M18 or NC16 product, you know? Like the amount of S-bombs, I guess. The amount of times they say shit on AEW TV is like, okay, hey, relax. Like it's like, you know, like when you finally have access, you unlocked it and a power and you just spam the same power over and over again, it gets boring.
I have an interesting analogy. I believe, right, what we are watching now is almost as if WWF of the 80s is fighting WWF Attitude Era.
Yes, exactly it. And well, okay, to be fair, not really the 80s. 80s was way cheesier, and this is like a more refined version of the 80s golden era, like bright lights sort of a thing. So this is the current product, and like we talked about, at the end of the day, we as wrestling fans, we are the ones who benefit from all this. Now we have so much choice.
Yes, correct. And the thing is, if you are a huge wrestling fan, like a big so-called mark of the business, I think this is the best time for you to watch. But if you are a casual, right, I think it will make it even more difficult to get into it. Just my opinion.
See, that's why WWE is doing what they're doing. In their mind, the casuals are more likely to drift towards the bright, the colorful, and especially if you have kids, you don't want to be watching the show with blood and like the quote-unquote Attitude Era style
of course.
TV, right? They're like, oh, these guys are dropping like, bad words and they're like, bleeding all over the place. Let's watch this bright, colorful product. And kids love bright and colorful. So
Yes. And also kids like things that is larger than life.
Yeah.
As much as you don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
So of course they will look at someone like I don't know, like a Parker Bordeaux or like a Dexter Loomis, or, and like, oh, okay, this guy looks like a monster or something like that. As opposed to, I look at Kyle O'Reilly. I'm like, hey, that one is like my friend.
yeah, exactly. There isn't that sense of aspiration. You know what I mean? Like, like look at for lack of a better, person, like, like a Drew McIntyre or Brock Lesnar. Like, wow, you aspire to be that guy. Maybe one day I can be that. Whereas you look at CM Punk or Adam Cole, you're like, I already have that body.
Yes, but what we don't have is the mic skills and the ability to draw you in. And it's very interesting what you pointed out, because I was just like looking at throughout the week like the reactions of CM Punk from like different people's opinions that I thought would be kind of like against it. Do you hear this news that came out that what Booker T on his podcast, he kind of shit on the CM Punk promo on his debut.
Really? Okay.
Okay, very interesting. So Booker T had some negatives about the promo, while Jim Cornette was lavishing praise on the return promo,
It's
which
like,
is a bit terbalik.
why are we in the upside down?
Yeah. So, and then there was also even another video where Jim Cornette responded to Booker T's criticism defending CM Punk's promo. So it was such a weird dichotomy, that weird dynamic. So I can I didn't pull out the actual quotes, but I can kind of paraphrase what Booker T was trying to say.
Yeah.
He said that he was saying, looking at this point of view from an expert's point of view, like a wrestling booker or a wrestling agent, right?
Yeah.
If he was the one booking that segment, he wouldn't make it like a homecoming love fest.
Okay.
He would say like, strike while the iron is hot, cut a pipe bomb. That means he said like, don't waste time. Like, yeah, you can thank the fans all after the show, you know, on its own, it can be an exclusive. But what people wanted to hear when CM Punk comes back, right, is like a scathing promo, like shitting on WWE.
Yeah.
Then after that, being a heel, having a character. He didn't want Phil Brooks coming to the show, because he said that is great and all, but it doesn't make good TV. And the only thing that it entices is like fans who have followed his career or his life all this while.
Yeah.
But for casuals who doesn't know anything about what's going on, they want to know what's this big deal about CM Punk.
Bro.
Okay? So I think you might agree with whatever he said.
This shows you like what kind of a seasoned professional in the big leagues Booker T is and has been, right? Because I agree with it 100%. And you know, I posted on my Insta stories as well about CM Punk returning, all that stuff. You know what people responded to me with? Huh?
Yeah.
This fella, what's he need a paycheck? Or like, you know, like these are your true casuals who perhaps have remembered him from the past. Oh, CM Punk, yeah, champion at one point. Huh? This fella's still relevant, meh? Like when I got those messages, I was like, oh shit. See, and what Booker T says makes a lot of sense. You're right. He didn't come, and let's not forget, he came into his home crowd.
Yep.
I guess in a way you could argue that, oh yeah, that pop makes him a big star, right? But yeah, most casuals will be like, okay. Like,
what's the big deal?
Yeah, like, okay, like people are cheering for him, but I don't feel any connection. He doesn't establish his character. So you're right. I mean, Booker T is right in that he came in, but that's AEW's freaking style anyway. They are the sort of, you know, show that's like, if you know, you know. If you don't know, we're not going to spoon feed to you. We're not going to tell you. And it is to their detriment.
It's to their detriment. It kind of it distances people who are casual, who want to get into it, but it definitely gives lip service to the people who love wrestling, right?
Yeah, it's like their exclusive club lah. Like, oh, if you're part of the club, then you're cool and you're part of the club. But if you're not, we're not going to tell you. Yeah,
and I feel like it kind of, because of that kind of thinking, it makes sense that Jim Cornette loves it. Because I feel Jim Cornette is the kind of person who, when he watches something, he doesn't want to have his intelligence insulted.
Yes.
Even as he's like trying to watch it as a casual, or he doesn't know what's going on, but he wants to feel like this is like a proper a guy really cutting a real life promo kind of thing.
See, the thing is with like AEW as well, I think, and this is what they're banking on. They're banking on the wrestling diehards to be even if they are the vocal minority, they are the ones doing the articles. They are the ones talking about, oh, did you see this Easter egg, that Easter egg? So in a way, it's like, how do I put it? It's not quite like, you know, a Marvel where they put in all the Easter eggs, but Marvel is still bright and beautiful and colorful, right? Yeah. So if we somehow combine both WWE and AEW, that's what we will get, a Marvel. With WWE, all they need to do now is just pay homages, wink once in a while, and then they will have AEW trumped already.
Yeah. But the thing, what I like about Jim Cornette's discussion, right, about WWE / versus AEW, he says that because there is a CM Punk coming into AEW, because there is the Malachi Blacks, there is these rumors of Bryan Danielson, there's these rumors of Adam Cole, maybe even Bray Wyatt. He feels that eventually, right, the Kenny Omegas and the Young Bucks won't be relevant anymore because they won't be the biggest stars.
They'll get
And then he
swallowed
said-
by the ex-WWE stars, is it?
Correct. Then he says like because at the end of the day he is banking on. He says yes, Tony Khan is an idiot right now.
Okay.
But he says that eventually his hope is that Tony Khan gets smartened up into the business. It takes a couple of years, and then he realizes that he is not the best booker out there because he will be play fighting, right?
Yeah.
He will be playing like a toys. But if with all that talent, he hires an actual booker to run the booking, and he is strong enough, is enough of a decision maker to think like there's no such thing as EVPs for life.
Yeah.
So like if like the business proceeds in the next 5 years, 10 years, and he is really the person in charge, right? And he has the ability to make the tough decisions that, okay, the Young Bucks maybe not that good at their job as an EVP. Or Kenny Omega, they really can't become not really good at running the women's division. Okay, we take away their role, we can still offer you a wrestling role. But now the EVPs loses their leverage because the more they buy better talent or well-rounded talent, they lose what's their main appeal. Because he made a great point. He said, is the Young Bucks more popular now than they were 5 years ago or 3 years ago with the Bullet Club? No, what?
No.
Now with their own promotion, they're actually getting less popular.
Yep. They've done like, I guess the whole like talk of can they make stars, right? Like, you know, as much as we want to be like, yeah, Adam Page is a big star, your man on the street don't know who the fuck he is. You casuals maybe might have heard of his name, but they don't really know who the hell he is. You know? Hey, Nicholas, Rishi, thanks for dropping by the chat, by the way. Good to see you guys. Yes. Nicholas mentions that he knows a few people who started watching wrestling again because of CM Punk's return to AEW. Yeah, because they are wrestling fans. They grew up in that era, right? So if you grew up in that era, yeah, that would make sense. But what I'm saying, my point was, is most casuals won't know. Like, if a Goldberg returns, more people will watch. If Brock Lesnar, John Cena, yeah. So I mean, we go back to the discussion. Who was it? Like, talked about like certain people are not needle movers. I think within the mainstream, I wouldn't consider CM Punk a needle mover. Within the wrestling community, yes, for sure.
Yeah, and you're right, because when I was posting on my personal account, like because my personal account, I kind of like here and there I post about wrestling, right? I take out most of my wrestling geekiness by posting regularly on our account.
Yeah.
But like when SummerSlam came around and it was like the main event, John Cena versus Roman Reigns, and I just put out a poster on it, right? People that I never expect, people I don't even know watch wrestling, suddenly DM me and say, hey, John Cena come back to wrestling already. What's he doing at SummerSlam?
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, you watch wrestling, man? Oh, yeah, about like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, oh, wow, okay. You get what I mean?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, I guess our point is that the WWE's audience is that audience. The random mother and father who maybe want to bring their kid out for a big event sort of a deal. It's them. That's why NXT is so freaking colorful. Raw, SmackDown, so colorful. Even main event is colorful, you know?
Yes. But I think that AEW should still kind of stick to what brought them to the dance in the first place. I think they will always have to cater to that core. Because as long as, even if they want to expand and go a bit mainstream, but if they ignore that core audience, I think the audience will let them know, like, hey, we don't want to be insulted in that sense.
And let's face it, that core audience can be quite, you know, like the second
marks
you start, what?
Proper marks lah.
Proper marks. The second you start drifting away from there, they'll go and look at One Impact, or they will go and, you know, spend their time on ROH, and they won't be your spokespeople anymore. So right now they are catering to the marks, and it works for them. Talking about mark, by the way, okay, we're gonna move on from the whole NXT debate and talk about Rampage for a quick second, because this week's Rampage was entirely missable. I'm sorry.
I think it was a pre-taped show, isn't it?
It was a pre-taped show because I recognized a sign in the crowd from Dynamite. I was like, hey, it's the same fella. What the hell?
Okay.
So, Rampage first episode, you knew that they were going to pull out all the stops, right? Second episode, I was like, okay, there was one like match of consequence, which is the next round of the
tag team eliminator.
So I was surprised that they haven't decided to pull the trigger on Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. Once again, they got stopped short, right? It's going to be Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros again, this time in a steel cage. So it's going to be a flippy floppy fest. But anyway, yeah, we'll get to that in just a bit. But did you manage to watch Rampage?
Yes, I did. And I was disappointed because I thought that they were going to have like a CM Punk and Darby Allen face-off promo.
So
but I guess that was actually safe for this coming week.
yeah, I guess at the end of the day, right, what Rampage really is now is that third hour lah, just spaced out, which is a great thing. Don't get me wrong, I think it is a good thing. And it's not like a dark elevation where they put like jobbers or shit like that.
Yeah.
So it's a good enough show. I have a huge problem with their commentary team. It is a mess right now. It is so hard to listen to. And this is surprising considering who's on the commentary team. So you have Excalibur, who I have to give props. He's really improved. Working with JR, working with Tony Schiavone. He plays with them very well on Dynamite. But here he is with Taz, who is a great commentator. Chris Jericho, is my favorite. He needs to calm down or shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. And Mark Henry, who, Mark Henry's pace is a lot more deliberate. So as he's describing the scene, 5 moves have happened already. So, and you can tell like Jericho wants to like jump. So you have this one guy who's super slow, another guy who's jumping in and interrupting at any given point, and they clash so much. I was like, oh no, they need to drop 2 people from that commentary team.
Yeah, it's a weird dynamic because I feel like they're trying to force personalities that don't mesh well.
Yeah. Like, if you like Taz and Jericho, they're actually quite funny together, I feel, because they both have that, they were wrestlers from the same era somehow, so they have a lot of chemistry, I feel. Like, but they still need somebody to hold everything together, which is what Excalibur is doing, right?
Yes, correct.
So you need an Excalibur, and Taz is a proven asset. Drop Mark Henry or Chris Jericho. Yeah.
Mark Henry is a bit I feel bad for him because I think one of the reasons why he got signed was to actually be a commentator, right? And they need to slot him somewhere, right? And what was weird, because I felt like whatever Mark Henry is doing, Big Show can do the job, what?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
They are very interchangeable. But also, like I said, like he's good on his radio show. He does a radio show, right? But because a radio show, you can have a conversation, you can slow it down. This one, you're calling the action is going fast and furious, and he's like, like, wow.
He's kind of left behind.
Wow, he's super left behind. And then you have Chris Jericho, who is just like trying to cut in at every second. I'm like, oh no, it was hard to listen to. And this coming from the biggest Chris Jericho mark there is, I was like, maybe he needs to not be on that team. Maybe Mark Henry needs to not be on that team.
I listened to Chris Van Vliet's podcast where he interviewed Big Show, right? You know what was funny?
What?
Big Show actually has been on AEW since February. It has been almost 6 to 7 months, almost half a year.
Half a year.
But now he only is having his first match like now. And like he said, right, he signed on because he was approached to do Dark Elevation. But if he knew that Rampage was going to be on the show, he would have insisted to be on that.
Yes. Yeah.
So the thing is, it's more of a timing thing, because I felt like, it didn't make sense. Why Big Show come and only do Dark Elevation? Why he never do Rampage?
Yeah.
But it was just that Tony Khan kept that close to his chest. So even Big Show didn't know that there was going to be this second show.
Wow. So he's probably kicking himself like, shit.
Yeah, a bit like wasted kind of thing. Yeah.
Let me give a shout out to Jason. What's up, Tovakin? How you doing? Average 95. Yo, welcome to the podcast. Mohammed Gaddafi as well. Thanks for joining us. If you missed anything, don't worry. You can always check out the video on demand or on the podcast when it comes out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all podcasting platforms.
Yeah, man, we are talking about Rampage and Dynamite, whatever that's going on, man. So far.
Somebody mentioned that Jericho could be leaving for his Fozzy tour soon, which, wouldn't be the worst thing, I guess. Like, he's going to lose to MJF, I guess, at All Out. Really give him that last big rub, right? And then he can F off for a while.
Yeah, I kind of like the year 1 to year 3 planning of AEW in the sense that, yes, they made all the big stars to kind of establish like the first level establishment from John Moxley to Chris Jericho. Yeah. And now they're kind of gone down the card and given other people the shine to become the one that is replacing at the top.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's good times in terms of pro wrestling. And plus now we know who else might be coming soon, may or may not, that kind of thing. Like CM Punk teasing Bryan Danielson with his, the crowd started chanting yes, right? And he was like, you'll have to wait a little longer. That's somebody else's gimmick. It's like,
ask you, bro, do you think that was an ad-lib on him? Was he supposed to do that? Or was he intentionally wanted to do that?
I don't know. I think it was an ad-lib. But then again, that's supposed to be his whole magic, right? His whole mystique. Like, he will just freaking drop pipe bombs and say what he's not supposed to say. So
What if, bro? Like, I'm just thinking about it. What if, right? Actually, right? They didn't want to drop any hint, but because of him saying it, and then Daniel Bryan is like, "Hey, fuck yeah, you screw up my potential debut."
no lah. I think because of who they are, they cater to this, smart audience anyway. So we already quote unquote know that Brian Danielson.
Can lah, bro.
Brian Danielson, whatever lah. That we already know he's on the way, kind of in a way.
Someone DM me about last week's show. They said they really enjoyed when you call the whole Goldberg family Goldberg, Sunberg, Oldberg, Weisberg.
Don't get me started on that shit, please.
Okay.
We're not talking about that today, hopefully.
Yeah.
So that's Rampage lah for me in a nutshell. It's a decent enough 1 hour distraction, but the commentary team needs to get fixed.
Yeah, I feel like the action is so fast and furious. I think because of the 1 hour that is squeezed, like the matches,
it
was easier to follow. Even though I don't really care for the people in the match.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say one quick thing about the CM Punk promo from Dynamite, right? I was just thinking about how CM Punk. Did you see this exclusive video that they put out where CM Punk was at the ring sending the fans home with Christian?
Yeah, I saw. And then he dropped an F-bomb and shit.
Yeah. So it's very funny because he said like he's no longer the voice of the voiceless because the people listen at the back. Do you feel like because of whatever CM Punk did from the pipe bomb 10 years ago, right? He manifested the seeds to create a promotion like a AEW because he feels like he can't change WWE's system. It's almost as if he became like the inspiration for creating a system that now he feels that he can thrive in.
Oh yeah, I agree with that 100%. But that goes back to my same question. Because he was that sore thumb that stuck out in the WWE system. That's why he was special. Now he's in a system which arguably he started, so he's not going to stand out anymore. So to Booker T's point, right? Instead of establishing your character, cutting a promo, you are just leveraging on what you've built from the past, which is substantial. But does this improve your character, marketability, blah, blah, blah? Like, I don't know, and plus the last few years, all he's been known for is getting knocked out in his hometown.
Oh yeah! Oh my god! I posted this meme on our Facebook.
I saw.
Fighting CM Punk is the most dangerous state, especially in Chicago. And the next photo is CM Punk getting knocked out in Chicago.
But was it by Nicky Gall? Or the other guy?
No, the one that Michael Jackson or Michael whatever.
The second one, not the first fight lah.
Yeah, the second one was in United Center.
Yeah,
so fucking funny.
that one. I'm like, oh okay, yeah, that's pretty funny. But we'll see like in his match, I suppose. So okay, Raw, NXT, SmackDown, even Dynamite, I feel like everything just sort of settled down after this huge bombshell of a week. Maybe it's because we had to come off of a huge bombshell of a week. Like really for Raw, other than RK Bro, it was like whatever lah. It was very missable.
Very interesting that they were pushing Damian Priest though to face Bobby Lashley. I think it's good that they're suddenly trying to commit to the newer stars.
You know what it is? To me, it just and it's like a pattern you see repeating, right? You watch enough of Raw, as we do, you will see it. It's a for now feud because Oldberg, Sunberg, Motherberg, they are not free to be on Raw every single week. So you need a sub feud, which is exactly what's happening on SmackDown. So
yes.
you can't have Brock Lesnar showing up every week because of whatever contract he has, right? So you have Finn Balor in between. He is the sub boss. He's the side quest, side mission.
It's weird because you always think of side quest, side missions towards heels, right?
Yeah.
Like you had the heel side boss, but now you have the heel side face.
Yeah.
So weird.
Which is like, unfortunately for fans of Finn Balor, which I would consider myself one, it just means that he's just going to be a slight little bump in the road. He's not winning the title. I don't think he doesn't seem to me like a threat,
When you talk about that, you know who I think about that is a bit wasted as well?
Yeah.
How Cesaro has been treated since WrestleMania.
Oh, right. He had his moment and then after that,
Yeah, back again. A bit sad because, like, of course, you don't want him to end up becoming a Dolph Ziggler.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Because Dolph Ziggler always have this situation where he always gets the title and he comes back. And you're always thinking, don't worry, there's the next time. The next time. But with Cesaro, like with every single like so-called setback, I feel like he won't get the momentum again. Like it's not as big.
Just let him have his one title reign and then happy already lah. Like a Jinder,
like The Miz.
like a The Miz, like Drew. Unfortunately, Sheamus.
Did you get to watch a bit of the WWE 24 where they talk about WrestleMania 37?
I did, and he came across very likable.
Yeah, they highlighted him really, really well.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the bond that he have backstage with Sheamus, with Drew McIntyre. So the two of them kept hyping each other up. And it's so weird because I feel like these British European people are kind of now the stalwarts of the company.
They are, right? Gaddafi says Nikki and Rhea LOL. Oh yeah, so that happened on Raw. They somehow became a tag team because, you know, Charlotte Flair things. Anyway.
Speaking of Charlotte Flair, I want to talk about something that is more positive about the women's division. Becky Lynch made her return to SmackDown and open up the show. And, well, essentially, I feel that she turned heel.
No,
what do you think?
I don't consider her as a heel. I think she was just who she is, or her man character anyway. That, you know, it's sort of like kind of like a Stone Cold lah, in that.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. And that is, I don't think, supposed to be her heel character. If you look, like, you can see the delineation quite clearly. Her, Bianca, they're probably going to have matches with Zelina Vega, Carmella, and Naomi. Okay, so Naomi returned. And this was a very strange backstage promo. I hope it's the seeds to having Naomi join the family or the bloodline.
Because what happened there?
You saw, right? Like, she literally shows up backstage. Hey, talking to Sonya Deville. I've been drafted from Raw to SmackDown. And then Sonya is like, I didn't even know that happened.
Ooh,
So this was the whole thing. Then Naomi's like, what? Then it's like, Sonya Deville's like, oh, Adam Pearce must have done it behind my back. Anyway, I don't have anything for you. And that's it. So I'm like, wow, to put her there and make her, to essentially malu her, to siasui her like that, right? Must mean that she has to turn. If not, that would really be just having her show up and put her down and that's it. You know what I mean?
They make her look like a chum, essentially.
Yeah. So if you make her look like a chum, I'm going to expect her to be like, okay, fuck y'all. I'm going to do things my way and heel turn and maybe join the bloodline. Or maybe just heel turn.
Yeah, that's fair point. Because when speaking of heel turns, and when I say that why Becky Lynch felt like a heel, because usually when you put someone opposite Becky Lynch, right, people always still support Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
But because of what she did at SummerSlam, when I was listening to the crowd, so when Bianca Belair came out to confront Becky Lynch of what happened, the crowd was really behind Bianca Belair, so they felt that injustice. So from what I've heard, actually Becky Lynch is the one that requested to work with Bianca Belair
as a heel.
She didn't, because she didn't want to take the shine of Bianca as becoming the bigger face. So because remember we were talking about it last week during the review that is Bianca better as a heel? We know that she's better as a heel from her NXT days. So should she be the one that switch and keep so-called the de facto face in this situation, Becky Lynch? But it's almost as if Becky Lynch says, no, I want to be the prick. I want to play like the I don't give a fuck. And then let Bianca Belair has that shine as a face.
But the problem is that plays right into her anti-establishment, anti-authoritarian, cool vigilante character, which will make her a face and get people to cheer her, you know?
Yes, eventually. I'm just trying to think of examples of this in the past where there was like a face, like a real true face, and then a true anti-face, but both of them are still liked by the audience. Can you think of something that is similar?
Stone Cold Rock.
Stone Cold Rock, yeah. Stone Cold Rock is interesting because Rock was also kind of an asshole. He was also kind of an anti-face.
People
so both
love
of them,
yeah.
Both of them just fuck off with each other.
Yeah, so they are like characters on their own. So maybe the argument is that Becky Lynch transcends face or heel. She's just a character. And, you know, Bianca remains face, whatever. And they can do their thing. It's going to be a 3, 4, 5-person feud. I see. It looks like a mess right now. You're not going to have your one-on-one, not for a long time anyway. So, Tova Kim brings up Carrion Cross, aka cosplay at BDSM night.
Oh my god, no! I was hoping we don't talk about Carrion Cross because when he came out, right?
Yeah.
The day after he lost in NXT, he came out in that suit. or whatever it is you want to call it, that's weird ass strap.
Yeah.
And you know what? I still thought, okay, fine, that is just his entrance attire. He's gonna take it out.
Yeah.
But no, he kept it on.
Freaking wearing suspenders in the match, huh?
Yeah,
Even okay. Do you remember Demolition?
Of course.
They had that cool BDSM look, but in the ring they took it off, and then they had just a painted face with the trunks, right? But dude looks like he's straight up wearing suspenders, and it's so distracting. I can't take him seriously anymore. I'm sorry.
First, he was wearing like the Spartan like skirt thingy,
which is fine. I'm okay with it, but yeah, the suspenders kind of kill everything, really.
Yeah, I am hoping for the best, but I'm expecting the worst when it comes to Carrion Cross.
Yeah,
because even though yes, the way he's dressed is a bit distracting, but he's still winning matches. He's still kind of dominating the matches. But once he lose one time to like another Jeff Hardy or Elias coming back or whatever, then you know that he's gone. He's done.
Bro, every time he picks up the mic, he's done. Okay.
No, but it's weird, But I actually enjoyed his backstage vignettes when he's doing all this like scary ass promo, because when I watched NXT Takeover and saw the hype package between Samoa Joe and Carrion Cross, like the way Carrion Cross was being presented there was menacing.
Yeah, but the second you put him on a live mic with someone else, if Kyle O'Reilly can out-talk you, good luck.
Babe, is he the second coming of Sid Vicious, bro?
Oh God, maybe no lah, but he's I think he's more cerebral than Sid Vicious.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else from Raw, SmackDown, NXT that you want to bring up? So okay, on NXT, I remember that the Legado del Fantasma has a new female member, which evens it out with Hit Row. So quite interesting. I got gang faction already. I like that.
That Latina girl I never seen before. Was she like a backstage interview or something? I literally can't remember her face.
Probably developmental. Now she's getting a shot. So that's exciting.
One thing about NXT that was a great takeaway for me was basically now it's like open season at the NXT Championship level. Yeah, everyone's challenging Samoa Joe right now.
Yeah, which is awesome, right? So you're gonna get Pete Dunne, Samoa Joe. You can get like Kyle O'Reilly, Samoa Joe. Who else? Tommaso Ciampa.
Yep, Ciampa came out. Was there one more person?
There was.
Let me think.
I don't remember.
Shit, no. Actually, those were the main people. Those were the main people. There is one more person I hope will join the NXT main roster, but I do not know. Depending on how he's being perceived. Walter, bro.
Oh yeah.
Where does Walter go? Like Walter and Samoa Joe needs to happen.
Yeah.
Bro.
He's probably going to take a while to quote unquote recover from Ilya Dragunov, and then after that. He starts whipping his fellow Imperium members into shape, and they just start dominating. So NXT actually does look quite exciting. Yes. Even if they make it colorful and everything, you still have your stalwarts there who will hold up, the main event, upper mid card slots.
Yeah, because I feel like, okay, it's fine that you have the indie background, but if you can transition and morph yourself into a WWE character, they will still keep you. So that's why you have people like Kevin Owens still there. Yeah. Sami Zayn return, but Sami Zayn is such a character now. You almost forget that he's an indie guy.
Yeah, but then again, so now to me anyway, that he's a character, I know who he is more than when he was the work rate guy.
Jericho.
Yeah. Ironically enough. Oh, one more thing about Raw, Logan Paul. God.
Bro, the fact that you bothered to post and tag us, that means I know you had strong thoughts about that whole segment.
I had strong, deep thoughts about the whole segment. See, what really got me about that whole segment was the fact that I think he truly believed in his heart that he was going to go out there and get shit. Like literally you can tell the Miz is trying to go out there and do damage control, and kudos to the Miz, you know what I mean? He's trying to take the heat, but people were still booing Logan Paul.
When he threw that line about what round is his brother gonna get knocked out, right? I was like, okay, Miz is the face right now in this situation. Yeah. Everyone's cheering him.
Wow. And then so the whole setup was to get first of all for Logan Paul to promote that stupid fight. Has the fight happened, or is it tonight or this morning? It's happening right now.
That's the thing. I don't know because I thought it was Sunday night, which is right now. So
is there a result?
Should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we better Google that shit.
Yeah, I'm Googling it right now actually. This the other Paul brother, right? Jake Paul.
Yeah, Jake Paul.
So round by round.
Is it live?
Wait, what? Huge
won.
Huge drama as Jake Paul wins bullshit victory.
What Ooh.
Split decision. Are you serious?
Motherfucker won.
How? Split decision, apparently.
You know what is happening right now? Like, it's still happening.
What?
So now, main event starts at 11 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay, now this is some bullshit right now.
Damn, it's happening live as we speak. Guys, whoever that is on the chat, like, can you guys update us if you are watching it?
Yeah, Average says Jake Paul won, which is kind of crazy. Like, I don't know if it was bullshit or it was legit, like his boxing is legit. And Tyron Woodley just went there and Malu himself.
Okay, so right now, official decision, Jake Paul defeats Tyrone by split decision.
Yeah.
It's very, okay, so round 8, okay, so I'm reading this analysis. It says that it's very possible Paul is up 6 rounds to 1 at this point.
Oh.
Woodley certainly needs something now, and he starts with that in mind.
So he actually, performed well lah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that means Woodley didn't get to knock him out, didn't get to like take him down.
Yep.
And he did take damage from Jake Paul. I mean, we had to watch the analysis of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have to watch the actual fight lah, but I'm paying for that shit show. Anyway.
Well, it's weird when this, okay, we gotta accept it as it is. Like, yeah, these Paul brothers, like, even though they are like, everyone hates them, but they seem to be performing in the ring. Like Logan Paul didn't get knocked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Jake Paul is like Tyron Woodley already. I remember watching some of the press conference pre-match. He guaranteed he's gonna like fucking kill him. Like, he legitimately had lust in his eyes to destroy.
Well, I mean, they are very smart at marketing law. At the end of the day, Tyron Woodley is probably making more money off of this one fight than his entire UFC career. So it's like, okay, I just do this one bullshit thing for the money, and then fuck off and go and retire, do rap videos, which is what he's doing.
You know what I predict, bro? 5 years from now, Fighter Fest level scandal, how all the Jake Paul, Logan Paul matches were fixed from the beginning and everyone was in on it.
Oh my God, can you imagine? Wow. Yes, yeah. Let's do it. It's all like, like people taking dives and
the
stuff
biggest
like that.
cover up in boxing history.
Not even like, a lot of people are looking at this going, this is not boxing. This is like some bullshit circus freak show, right? Like, apparently the Paul brothers can box for real. I haven't watched their matches, so I can't really say, but wow. Okay, anyway.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Next time I go UFC training, I'll ask my boxing coach whether this is legit or not. They would know better.
Sure. Anything from Dynamite and Rampage stand out to you leading into their pay-per-view?
Okay, for me, I'm still waiting for Darby Allen to respond to CM Punk. Because CM Punk is the one carrying the feud right now.
Yeah, the match is on already. But I mean, we all know Darby Allen and he's just doing a Sting thing. Just standing there in the rafters.
Darby Allen essentially is having a sub-feud with this Danny Garcia guy.
That one gone already lah. Fuck lah. Now he move on already. But who the fuck cares about who is Danny Garcia? Nobody gives a shit. Yeah,
but this fucker is still beating up Darby Allen on the show on Dynamite. So I was thinking, like, why is Darby Allen not being presented as like this guy who beats, like, is credible, because right now he's not coming into the Punk match, other than the fact that he's a young guy, but other than that, he doesn't have momentum coming into the match. Actually.
Best booker of 2020. We all know that it's so obvious that this is a case of CM Punk came in, he picked his favorite plaything. And they're like, okay, go ahead. Yeah, please go and make Darby Allen. And that's it. Yeah. Forget about whatever other storyline is going on, Oh, you know who is very surprising to me in terms of promo that has been awesome, that I want to watch more of, that has now allied himself with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page?
Oh, that Dan Lambert fella, right?
American Top Team, which is a mixed martial arts, sort of a legit combat sports group, right? Team.
Did you hear, sorry, before you go into it, right? Did you hear on Broken Skull sessions that Bobby Lashley gave him a shout out?
Yeah. So he's a huge wrestling fan. And then now he's getting like these moments on Dynamite where he's cutting these awesome promos. I'm like, oh shit. Like, he's a classic heel manager. Yeah, I love it.
She's Cornet reincarnated essentially.
Right. And then he's whacking this soft sort of like new generation of wrestling fans. I'm like, yes. I'm like,
And he's talking shit about all these like skinny ass wrestlers and saying that if I was the bully back in school, I would be the one bullying these wrestlers.
yes. So he's just a very, very good heel, and he's kind of what Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky needed. So.
Okay, and that's the thing. I was very interested because at first when Dan Lambert came in, he brought his like
MMA guys.
MMA guys?
Yeah.
Was it Dos Santos or what that was behind him, backing him out at the time? I was thinking,
it was to showcase who he is, just to get those audiences.
Correct.
And then now they just like, okay, I'm actually going to go and do my proper training and not fucking waste time.
Yeah, but it's smart because I thought, what was the end game? Him bringing the MMA guys, are they going to wrestle? But then it was smart because now he already established, okay, this guy is an MMA boss, blah blah blah, and then he uses his rub to give the rub to the man of the year, right? Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky.
Yeah.
And then in the promo, he highlighted the legitimate like wrestling skills that they have, which I didn't know. I didn't know this Ethan Page guy was a Taekwondo champion. And they said something about what Scorpio Sky was. What was his martial arts background? He got some martial arts background as well.
I don't remember but he legitimized the two of them. That was the whole point.
Yes. So I felt like, okay, because we know the talent of Scorpio Sky. We know Ethan Page cut great promos, had that. So I mean, decent program with Darby Allen. But I was afraid that after the program ended, what's going to happen to them, right? And then now they rebounded really, really well.
Yeah. The only problem is they don't really have a match or anything. They just have a manager. That's it. But we'll see. We'll see where that goes. Okay. Oh, interestingly enough, the Mero and Eddie Kingston match was literally set up 1 week before the pay-per-view on Rampage. So there you go. There's your big development on Rampage. I mean, there's still this week's Dynamite and Rampage to go. So let's right now jump right into the card and preview this sumbitch. Here we go. It's AEW All Out. And I guess we can start with Nyla Rose versus Thunder Rosa versus The Bunny versus Big Swole versus Julia Hart versus Tay Conti versus Diamante. Penelope for Red Velvet. This is the 21-woman Casino Battle Royale for a future AEW Women's World Championship match. I think there are going to be 12 other women they're going to insert in here, probably like developmentals and whatnot. This is probably going to be on the buy-in.
Yes, and you know, with the Casino Battle Royale, every time they have this match, they will always have a joker.
Yeah.
They will have a surprise entrant, right?
Yeah.
What are your bets on who is it gonna be?
Yeah, it's gonna be Ruby, whatever her new last name is.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing. This Ruby Soho, I think that's the name right now.
Soho, yeah.
And you know what? I kind of want her to win.
Really?
There's no one that is compelling to challenge Brit Baker. I mean, the Joshi girls all had their shine.
Yeah.
Nyla Rose, no one wants to see her now. Tay Conti a bit too raw.
Yeah.
Chris Statlander is already having a match with Brit Baker.
For no reason, by the way. This is the most like, what?
Yeah, I think just based on what she was doing before she got injured, but that's already died down already.
Yeah.
So who else is gonna be the one that challenges Brit Baker?
You're right, literally nobody. Unless some other big name shows up. But yeah, that's a good point. I mean, she could come in, win it, and just basically kick off her career on AEW on a high, like really make an impact. Yeah.
And I Ruby's whole, like people who follow the Riot Squad knows that she's the worker of that team. So she will definitely be of good quality.
Yeah. Other than that though, this is honestly not like something I would go out of my way to watch. Just maybe, just see the highlights and okay, so-and-so wins. So there you go. Let's move on then. Mero versus Eddie Kingston. What's it? God's favorite champion versus the Mad King.
I love it, bro. Have you seen his promos on Dynamite? I actually been legitimately enjoying promos for Mero.
Yeah. They've been like, because the conviction at which he says these things is like, oh shit, he believes. And he's gonna bring the wrath of God down on anybody else who would, dare defy. And then it's like, what? God's favorite champion. And then I go home to my wife, and then he keeps bringing up his hot wife or like what?
I love it though. Every time he's like salute the God's wife. I've been enjoying because what happened was the Fuego del Sol got the contract, right?
Yeah.
And then he basically beat him up on the way, like he literally threw him out of the entrance.
Yeah.
On last week's episode, and then during the promo he said like I already beat you, I already defeated you, and then you still got signed. But I still forgive you because God forgives all or some shit like that. Like he was kind of like pissed off by the fact that I already beat you, but you still come back. But no worries, God forgive you, so I will.
Yeah, I just love his character work right now. It's really cool. And somebody else who has really good character work, you could argue that this is who he is, Eddie Kingston. So like this is one of those, there's not really that much build, but I'm actually interested to see this match. Kind of
Like you didn't know you need to watch this match, but it's good.
Yeah, it's like Edge, Seth Rollins. Like, oh, okay, yeah, hell yeah, I watched that match. So yeah, Mero, Eddie Kingston for the AEW TNT Championship. I mean, there's no way. I don't think Eddie Kingston is winning this one yet. Mero is on a high. He needs that momentum to carry through, and a proper feud lah. Maybe this is the start of the proper feud.
Yeah, I mean, Mero is essentially the kind of champion that you wouldn't mind keeping him, putting the title on him for about a year, but he needs feuds now, because now he's been randomly beating people, but he needs feuds.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he can feud with Eddie Kingston, and then you can move on from Eddie Kingston to his best friend, I was going to say Dean Ambrose, John Moxley, right?
Yes, John Moxley. And speaking of John Moxley has basically now he's having this wet dream of fighting all the Japanese legends.
Yeah. So he's facing Satoshi Kojima. Okay, I do not know who that is. Can you please explain?
Satoshi Kojima, I think he's a legend in AJPW. But please somebody correct me because I'm not a Japanese wrestling expert. Where's Najwan when you need him? But anyway. But yeah, he's a legend. I think he's on the level of like the previous guy that fought the botak guy. I forgot what's his name also. Kojima or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, I will be very honest and say that I skipped all these matches. That way they bring in some Japanese legend, and to me it's like I don't know. So you know,
this is
like
the ultimate. You want to fan service the New Japan or Japanese wrestling fans.
The hardcore fans. Like to me,
it's not for us.
Yeah, no, like as a casual, like it's like who is this? Okay, whatever, skip. You know, so to me, like if they keep these types of matches like once in a while, that's fine, no issues. You know, but if they keep doing it, then to me that's a problem lah.
You know what I would watch if he was to fight a Japanese wrestler? If he bring like a one-time Tanahashi or one-time like I mean even the Kenta match was okay lah. But if he brought a one-time Okada fighting at All Out, then of course I would love to watch it. You know what I mean?
Okay, so Satoshi Kojima was the first wrestler to hold the New Japan Pro Wrestling IWGP Heavyweight Championship and All Japan Pro Wrestling Triple Crown Championship simultaneously.
Nice. So AJPW legend lah in the case.
Yeah, so he's been to AJP, New Japan, blah blah blah. So okay lah, legend lah. We get it. As long as they hype it right, should be fine.
Yes, as long as they educate us. But remember that time when they had the exploding barbed wire match? Actually, when they had the promo and they got that Japanese deathmatch legend, I felt like, this sense of importance. That if they hype it out that way, then I can appreciate the legend of his legend.
Right. But, you know, I guess you have this 1 week to do it and then it's the week of the match already lah. Let's move on then. Dr. Brit Baker, DMD versus Chris Statlander. We've kind of touched on this already. This is for the Women's Championship. First of all, there's no way the title is changing hands. It just feels like, okay, we need her in a match. Nobody else has been built up enough. Let's just throw them together, right? Like Brit Baker arguably was like on that rise and people are cheering her, so she's like kind of a face, but she's still a heel. And this is another one of those very weird, like, I think they feel like, okay, she's just a character. She doesn't need to be defined as face or heel. Yeah. But then you have Chris Statlander, who's arguably a face, the alien. And then she's acting a little bit heel, like she attacked Brit Baker after her match. So
I would say it's similar to a Becky Lynch and Bianca situation. But the point I was trying to make then was that, you see, but Bianca still has fans, still have fan support. But Chris Statlander,
I mean, she has lah, but you know, it's like only the indie fans know who she is. You know, like she came back. She had not much of a program.
Let me ask you this question: if Brit Baker was in WWE, you think on what level will she be on right now? Because I feel with her momentum, I think she could be also a top star level in WWE.
Yeah, especially with her promos and whatnot. Like, to be honest, like her in-ring stuff isn't blowing anybody out of the water lah, huh? Can we safely say that?
Yeah. But I think she's more of a character or storytelling type of wrestler. She's not a move for move kind of person, right?
So yeah, this match in itself is going to be like honestly a throwaway match to me.
But of course, Brit Baker, I watch her matches not because of her wrestling, but because of the fan reaction to her the way her facials lah. So I enjoy her matches as it is.
Actually, okay, just looking at this card, right? There are 10 matches. This card is stacked. Like,
Yes.
it is bulging at the seams, and I don't know if that's a good idea. Might be
I'm
too bloated.
curious because some of the matches, right, got not a lot of build,
Yeah.
but the match might deliver.
Like, okay, Mero, Eddie Kingston, like we talked about already. One of those, like, oh, we didn't know we wanted to watch this, but hey, here it is, and I kind of want to watch this. That the match that I really don't give a fuck they could just take it off the card and I wouldn't blink is Jon Moxley and Kojima. I'm sorry, but you know what I mean? It's like, this means nothing.
Yeah, but of course I do understand the reasoning of putting a Jon Moxley on the card because they kind of want to pad it out, right?
Then have Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston versus Mero and somebody or whatever lah. You know, they can do one what. You know, it's just a bit of creativity. Let's move on then. Chris Jericho versus MJF. If Jericho loses, he will retire from in-ring competition in AEW. Now, here's the thing. We all know he's going for a Fozzy tour, right? So the assumption is that he might lose to justify him disappearing. Somehow, I don't think so.
But do you really want him to retire right now?
No. Here's the thing. Like, and he even talked about, even if he does lose, he'll just become a commentator on Rampage.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why he's been featured on Rampage, right? But yeah, like, do we want him to retire? I don't know, but I don't want to see him in matches that often. Honestly, like, he should pull the Brock Lesnar at this point. At this point of his career, you know what I mean?
It's weird though because even maybe 3 years ago, 2018, he was having kick-ass matches with Kenny Omega. Like he was still at a high level.
Yeah.
But I don't. In just this last 2 years, the deterioration of his work rate like really went down.
It's age lah. You know, you can't fight father time at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, I know it's crazy because it reminds me of Kurt Angle's deterioration. Because when Kurt Angle, even as late as 2014, 2015, he was having kick-ass matches in Impact Wrestling with Bobby Lashley, Bobby Roode. Like, he was still at a certain level. But then that 2 years of him just being a general manager, then after that, when he suddenly went back to become a wrestler, really can tell rabak, you know.
Yeah. At some point, the body is like, nope, can't do this anymore. And maybe Chris Jericho is there. Maybe he wants MJF to be that guy.
Maybe, perhaps.
To retire him. So, actually, I find it hard to call this because it's very obvious, the whole MJF retiring Chris Jericho angle is very obvious. And I feel like maybe they want to do something not so obvious. Maybe Chris still wins, but MJF destroys him after to justify Chris Jericho disappearing for a few weeks.
I'm ready for MJF and Chris Jericho to move on from the feud. So whatever happens, it has to be the end of the feud.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense for Chris Jericho to take his victory back because he's been building up MJF so much. If you were to have the one-time victory again, then MJF as a character would feel like, oh no, I still have to defeat him. What? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it kind of reminds me of like a Undertaker Shawn Michaels situation where Shawn Michaels desperately wants to beat Undertaker, but inevitably he will still lose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, with shenanigans, MJF can't win clean, right?
Perhaps.
No Chris Jericho for a while. That could be interesting. But you know what? If there's any time for him to, take a break, now would be the time. With CM Punk, with all the people that are supposedly coming in, they don't need him quite as desperately as they did when AEW first started. So yeah, now's the time, right?
Yeah, and I think that was the intention all along. What maybe Chris Jericho's job was just to establish AEW at the beginning of the promotion, and now that he has done that, he's done the job. He can fuck off lah.
Not fuck off lah. Take it easy lah. Okay, here's the match that we have all been waiting for, bro. I'm super excited for this one, dude. Paul White versus QT Marshall.
Wait, you are telling me you can put the Jon Moxley match out of the card, but you want to keep Paul White versus QT Marshall?
Bro, I'm being sarcastic. This one can fuck the hell off as well. Bro, there is no Malachi Black match, okay? And you are giving me Paul White versus QT Marshall. The match nobody wanted to see.
Oh my god.
So, okay, my hope for this match is Paul White comes in, unloads his world's strongest punch or whatever the fuck he calls it these days, and that's it. And don't, do we really want to see Paul White go in the ring anymore?
No one wants to see Paul White go except for Paul White, bro.
And then next you're going to see Mark Henry in there also. Yeah.
But the thing is, Paul White, as much as we like make fun of him, but he is a giant. So if nothing else, he better dominate. If like QT Marshall for some reason still can like have some 2-on-1 situation and he still can beat down, well, I really don't know what to say. Yeah, he really pulling strings then QT Marshall. Yeah.
I mean, okay, QT Marshall will have Aaron Solo and his factory family, whatever the hell they're calling it. Like, okay, is this just really, really good heat, or is it go away heat?
No, it's go away heel.
Okay.
No one is confusing it for him being a great heel.
Like, sometimes I sit back and think to myself, is he just doing such a good job of being a heel that like I really don't want to see him anymore? But it's like, no, I just don't want to see him.
You know what I think of when I think of him?
What?
Where the hell is Anthony Agogo?
Yeah, right? Like, he got buried by the Cody Rhodes machine.
And then he disappeared.
Yeah, and is he injured? Did he give up on this wrestling business? Like, what's going on? So
no explanation.
Okay.
But the thing about QT Marshall is like, this is the best example of nepotism in AEW.
Yeah, like, oh, he's the friend. Okay lah, he can fight. Or what?
Yes, correct.
Okay, yeah, we've given it way too much time already, as it is. just mentioning it is a waste of time. This is another match they've been building through backstage promos mostly. Pac versus Andrade El Idolo.
No matter what the bill was, whether it was good or not, like, I just want to see both of them in the ring.
I think this is one of those as well that like, nobody gives a fuck about the build. The match itself is going to be what delivers, right?
Yeah, but I do want to see one conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to see El Idolo do a double swerve, kick Pac out of the Death Triangle, and then make a faction with Lucha Bros.
Really? But Lucha Bros are the de facto faces now because they're going up against the heels in the Young Bucks.
Yeah, so I kind of hoping, this is where I hope, like, in terms of the way the promotion, the event is structured, I want the Young Bucks and Lucha Bros match to be at the beginning.
Oh.
And then so now they can still be their face, they can still win the title, whatever it is. But then this match with Pac and El Idolo is somewhere in the middle of the card or towards the end. And then when they can come out at that very pivotal moment in the match where they're supposed to back up Pac and then they do the turn.
I see what you mean. Okay. In that case, I would rather them lose. You know, they turned only because they lost and they needed, a real proper like third man, which is Andrade El Idolo. Because I don't see the Bucks dropping the titles here. Doesn't make sense to me.
And Death Triangle was never a good fit. I never got into them.
The problem with Pac, and we've talked about this on the previous episode, the problem with Pac is he's just not on TV regularly enough. He shows up one week and then he don't know disappear where, and then he shows up again. Oh, I'm Death Triangle. Are you really?
I've never seen Death Triangle appear consistently on TV at one stretch.
So to me, that's the huge problem with Pac. It's like you can't build any momentum if you're not around. Plain and simple. Essentially,
Pac is an assertive father, bro. He keep promising that he'll come back, but he always disappears.
So, okay, what is the deal though? Does he have like contracts with other wrestling promotions, or like?
Maybe it could be a issue of travel because he's based in Britain, based in UK. I do not know. But
at this point, shouldn't he just be living in the US then? Like, is it visa issues? Like, you know what I mean, right? Like, it's. Every time he shows up once in a while, and then he fucks off. And then he shows up, and it's not like he's a big enough name to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's like Pac could have been as big as involved in the promotion as Moxley at this point, because he was one of the big signings at the beginning of the promotion's history, right?
But because of his absenteeism, he's like, oh, okay lah, I guess he's back.
Yeah, him and Keith Lee are like the biggest absentee people I know.
Yeah, what the hell? You're right. Yeah. Okay, so Andrade wins this. Good match. Yes. Andrade wins. Simple as that, right? Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros. We've kind of talked about it. Steel cage match. Actually, I like your idea of having this the very first match. Start off hot because these two will flip-floppity fly all over the place. Maybe tone down some of the flip-floppity shit, but you know them, they cannot lah.
Keep Young Bucks where they're supposed to be, bro.
Where?
The match opener and curtain jerker.
Bro, what? Wow. That sort of vitriol for the Young Bucks is usually left up to me. But here I am, holding out some sort of, hope for them.
You know why I don't like the Young Bucks?
Why?
Because they did the FTR dirty, bro.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, well, I mean,
Ever since that.
FTR and what's their face? Santana and Ortiz. They are like their feud is heating up quite well.
They are gonna have a match right on Dynamite this week, yeah. But of course they were out injured. Cash Wheeler, one of them, had an arm injury thing. So yeah, I understand where they are the way they are now. But my problem is they never gave us the Young Bucks and FTR rivalry. They just gave us one-time match, kena defeated decisively, and then kept them away from each other.
And the match was kind of like a, like a wet fart. Yeah.
I think it would have been better if they made it a series of matches.
Also, let me say hi to Mars. What's up, man? Mars Mira from the Mars Mira podcast. Yo. He says,
hello.
CM Punk could face Malachi Black by the end of the year. That would be an interesting feud for sure, as long as it's not against Cody.
Yeah, Mars, I think if you're not wrong, you probably have seen the photo that Malachi Black posted, or the CM Punk posted, where both of them was inside a MMA cage. They were training together.
That's one of the matches, like, you talk about dream matches that could happen. Yeah, definitely, right?
Dream feuds. Imagine them having promo segments together.
It's looking good. Let's see, what were we just talking about? Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros. Like I said earlier, Young Bucks win this shenanigans for sure with the Elite. I'm liking their business with the, I mean, like we said, like, they're really leaning into their natural heat. They're very, very dislikable. They're very easy to dislike, and they just have to play it up. That's all, you know.
What AEW needs is a lovable babyface, and they already have one right there. You mentioned it earlier on the show.
Who, Lucha?
Jurassic Express.
Jurassic Express. Yeah, which is very surprising to me that Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy are not facing them. Instead, you got the Lucha Bros, who have been face, heel, face, heel. This is another one of those teams, right? They're like, sometimes they disappear, sometimes they come back, their face. So it's very inconsistent, very hard to get behind.
Yeah, I am personally a fan of getting Phoenix having a singles run because I feel like Phoenix can just be the Rey Mysterio of this AEW promotion, right? But
see, remember they were teasing a breakup, and then all of a sudden, let's forget about that. They're back as a tag team, and and I'm sorry, this is just a pet peeve of mine, but you know when Penta does his what
Sierra,
and then like puts his hand in people's face, like, stop wasting my time, just punch the fella in the face when he does that. You know what I mean? It's like,
he take damn long, right?
Yeah, it's like, he take off the glove. Like, shit, yeah, if an opponent was doing that to me, I punch him straight in the face already.
Okay, that one, I will only enjoy Big Show Paul White doing that if he does it to Penta. If he does it to Penta.
Well, he's doing
this WMD.
Bong! That's it. Okay, you're done. Goodbye, good night. Get out of here. Okay.
This kind of situation, that's why you need Stone Cold, bro. So he can come in, go into the ring, just one time stunner while he's doing it, then die.
Yeah, don't waste time, right? Okay. CM Punk versus Darby Allen. Now, this is not going to be the main event, but because this is in Chicago, this will probably have the loudest pop. Actually, could this be the show opener?
No, I don't think so. Because I think the audience is gonna have to wait to get to see CM Punk.
Right. So the third last match.
Maybe the match right before the main event also.
I don't think it can be the match before the main event because the audience would be on such a high, right? The main event will disappoint already. There's no way that you can go up anymore. So it has to be like there has to be a buffer match in between, a let me down match, as it were.
I get what you mean. It's like probably they need like a Snooki versus Trish Stratus match or something to come down.
So we can have your Paul White versus QT Marshall match there.
Sure. But yeah, of course, CM Punk, Darby Allin. I think a lot of people ordering the pay-per-view wants to see CM Punk's first ever return match. I want to know whether CM Punk can go.
Right.
Because depending on how he performs, I'll be more like into, because he can deliver on the mic. Yeah. But being in the ring, especially after seeing him getting knocked out so many times, he kind of lost his luster. But can he be that ring general or not?
Versus somebody, well, I mean, he's not say he's in there with somebody who can't work. He's obviously in there with somebody who can, right? So I don't think this will be that big a problem. Yeah,
and of course, knowing how Darby Allin wrestles, right, he will take all these crazy bumps for CM Punk.
So hopefully, like, they will make each other look good, lah. It's just an interesting dynamic, lah, in that it's a face versus face match.
Yes, I think so too. But right, the only way this can kind of have a very interesting conclusion, and you brought it up. You already brought it up early on. What if at the end of the match, at the conclusion of the match, CM Punk obviously will win, but then he gets confronted by his next opponent. I got two names that I want him to face next. Like either or would make me happy lah. One of them is MJF, fresh from beating Chris Jericho. He doesn't have to do much. He just appears at the end of the match at the Titantron, or he appears backstage looking at the match or something like that.
Yeah.
So to tease it, or Malachi Black. Not on the show, not on the card. He confronts him at the end of the show, or he does his black mask, take out CM Punk to end his night. Yeah,
getting himself a massive amount of heat in CM Punk's hometown. You know, that would be the most ideal, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I think MJF can afford to go, and he already have a pile of heat after beating Chris Jericho. He doesn't need more heat, right?
Yeah.
So,
but Malachi Black, if CM Punk, imagine CM Punk celebrating, lights go out, and then lights come back up, then kena kick, boom, down. Black mass, whatever. Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Book it. There you go. That's the ending. I will accept no other ending. Perfect, bro. Let's do it. Scully, they have a subpar match. CM Punk is celebrating in the ring, and then that's it. They end. Oh, no. Okay, you have to understand, this is not WWE. I still trust AEW to give the fans what they want. I mean, shots fired. No one asked for Paul White versus QT Marshall, but I mean, the ones that they can give, I hope they give what they want. Bro, you know who comes out to confront CM Punk? Who, bro? The American Dream. No one. Have you realized nobody has been asking for Cody Rhodes, bro? No, absolutely nobody. No one in the chat is asking where the hell is Cody Rhodes. Exactly. This is why he's like, oh, nobody's talking about me. I better make myself relevant again. He comes out completely ignoring the fact that he got destroyed by Malachi Black. How about that? Oh, you know what's a totally a Cody Rhodes thing to do? What? Okay, we book whatever we just booked. So like CM Punk kena black mass out of the ring, and everyone is like booing Malachi Black, and the heat is like super intense, right? And then that stupid Cody Rhodes had to take all the heat away by appearing and trying to attack and defend CM Punk. No. Not only like, get rid of Malachi Black from the ring, right? When his heat is the highest, then he gets on the mic and promos like some 10-minute promo about race and his about how he gave birth to the first ever mixed race baby. Apparently in the universe, right? Yeah, and his father and his mother. Oh my god! Oh shit. Bro, he really is the Hulk Hogan of this of AEW, right? He just comes in and steals the shit from everyone. Very bad. Scully, he's like, okay, he's actually doing the right thing and selling this horrible injury from Malachi Black. Yeah. Well, I mean, between Malachi Black and Cody Rhodes, I think if we put a poll who we want to see appear at All Out, we know what's the answer. We don't even have to put a poll. Yeah, I think so too. All right, let's go on to the main event, and it's about 1:20. I know you have to run off, so let's talk about Kenny Omega with Don Callis versus Christian Cage. They obviously are setting up Christian Cage to be a very big threat because Christian beat him with winning the Impact Championship, right? Yeah. If you asked me a month ago whether I would have enjoyed this as the main event, I would have said I would have been sorely disappointed because I wanted Adam Page. Everyone wanted Adam Page. Yeah. But I had to give credit where it's due. Ever since that first Rampage show where Christian won, I think Christian has been built up to a point where I feel that this is a match that I'm looking forward to because they are both on equal levels. Yeah. Do you think though that Christian suffers from he's never been like main eventer, even though he's been world champion before, right? Yeah. It's like his main event reign has been like a Jinder or I don't know who else to because when he was Christian ECW champion, he was like a champion, but he wasn't the main guy. So what I'm trying to say? Yeah, even when he was world champion in WWE too, it was like, okay, like whatever it is, we all remember him as the lesser of the tag team, as it were, Yeah, and Don Callis has been leaning onto that, has been using that as a way to needle at him. But I feel like Christian's redemption will come through AEW because by the end of Brody Lee's life, right, we all saw him as his own man instead of being Luke Harper. So I feel like that's the whole reason why Christian is in AEW, because he wants to prove it to us and to himself that he can stand on his own 2 feet.
Sure.
But let me tell you something, and I think I want to ask your opinion on this. Because when he was younger, right, he never looked like a champion caliber main event guy because he was a bit scrawny, a bit skinnier. But do you think, right, ever since he came back and now at his age 47 with the grizzled beard and like a bit, he talked about him being shredded. I do see him as a shredded guy.
Yeah, he's shredded.
It's almost as if he's grown because of his age. Right now, he looks like more of a world championship contender.
I will disagree. I will say no. When you compare him to how Edge looks like now, Edge is a much better actor. And, you know, I think it boils down to the X factor of, can you make me believe? And Christian, as much as I enjoyed him as, you know, Christian in the WWE or Christian Cage now, I feel like his ceiling is the upper mid card. Like a John Moxley. In a way, like his promos are all right, but he's another one that, you know, relies too much on using expletives. You know what I'm saying?
Like, he keep calling Dan Kelly's you
corny piece of shit. You know, it's like, to me, if you have to go there just to make your point, that shows me that maybe you're not as compelling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I feel that is his personality. I'm not, don't mean this to like as a disrespect to Christian, but I feel like Christian is by nature a very low key guy.
Yeah.
And I think that makes him a great husband.
Oh yeah,
a great best friend.
Nobody is saying he's not a great husband, great person, great best friend, great worker. I'm just saying that maybe he doesn't have that X factor to be like a headliner. Like, you know, he can be a champion, but maybe for a short while.
Okay, then I'll ask this question because this is what I hope to happen at the end of the show. Two things again, two possibilities. At the end of the show, Kenny Omega wins. Christian's on the ground. Blah blah blah. Adam Page comes back.
Yes.
He will get a big pop. He will just have that face to face is enough.
Yeah.
Or they still gonna wait a bit more, stretch it out a bit more. The one that ends the show based on what rumors has been saying, Bryan Danielson.
Oh, okay.
Bryan Danielson just appears with the final countdown, his indie song.
Yeah.
And that's the question I wanted to ask you. What makes Bryan Danielson, who also arguably has the everyday man persona, have more of an X factor than Christian?
Bryan Danielson.
Yes. Like because technically right now you're saying that Christian, because he feels like just a normal guy, doesn't have that X factor. Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan also came in WWE, didn't have the X factor, but somewhere along the line he got over the hump and became a main event.
He got over the hump, became a main event because the people really got behind him, right? But see, that's the thing. He had that X factor. He had the underdog X factor. The problem with Christian, and it just occurred to me because I remember what The Rock said about him one time, and it fit so perfectly. He is what was it? Did he call him a sleazy guy? What did he call him? CLB, creepy little bastard. And I'm like, oh, that's it. He just has a smarmy look.
Okay, now that you think about it, you know what he reminds me of, or not, bro?
What?
You watch Toy Story?
Yeah, of course.
He's Andy lah, basically.
Smarmy.
He got the same face.
Yeah, so I think when it boils down to it, right, he is better off as a heel. Some people are just better off as a scheming, smarmy guy, and he has that. He's not an all-conquering babyface like Daniel Bryan is, you know? And also, can we just bring up the fact that he's been using the spear as his finisher? The fuck for? He doesn't have the body type to pull off the spear. As it is, Edge doing the spear is already a stretch. He's this tall, lanky guy. It looks weird. Like, I don't understand why he's doing it.
Kill switch, I think, is a cool enough finisher. I mean, the way he does it is really cool. Maybe he's just paying homage, I guess.
What, to his brother who stole, his best friend who has basically taken his entire limelight, like his whole life. Why don't you do, you know what would be a cool move for him to do? The Diamond Cutter. He has the same body type, lanky. Or RKO, like do that. Yeah. The Cage Cutter.
Okay, now I remember why I don't have sympathy for Christian. You know, when I grew up, I hated Christian because of what he did to Chris Jericho. Remember WrestleMania 20, bro? $1 Canadian. Not only did he fuck over Chris Jericho, at the end of the match, he got Trish Stratus to betray them, and then he made out with Trish Stratus.
on stage. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah, with the tongue. Oh my god, with the tongue, right? So right, anyone who has already been able to make out with Trish Stratus and get to tongue her,
That's
I don't
the
have
win.
sympathy for him.
That's the what the?
I
Yeah.
mean, like you already won in life. Like, why should I care about you becoming champion again?
Yeah, like okay. So to me, this card is one of those cards that's filled with potential, but there isn't one match. Okay, I know for you it's CM Punk, but for me, I don't have that connection with CM Punk, right? So there isn't the one marquee match that I'm like, wow. Like SummerSlam had John Cena, Roman Reigns, Edge versus, okay, maybe not Edge versus
Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins. It's that's like the match. Oh, I didn't know I wanted to see, but I want to see it now because it's happening. But it doesn't have a marquee match. To me, this card doesn't have a marquee match, but it has a whole host of interesting matches in between.
Yeah, but I would dare say they haven't had a marquee match to promote ever since like Full Gear, where it was like Moxley Omega. Like,
Yeah.
when was the last time they had a marquee match?
Which goes back to Christian Cage. I mean, just our opinion. Maybe he's not, you know, that.
The guy that we all think he is, like the main guy.
Yeah.
And it's okay, right? Because I feel like they are banking on their next generation of stars to be the marquee people. Because I hope maybe 2 years from now, 3 years from now, Adam Page is on the level of like, okay, Adam Page, AEW original. Like
Darby Allen.
Darby Allen. Because I think Darby Allen, definitely whatever CM Punk said is true. I feel like if I'm a kid, I see Darby Allen. Yes, he's like a very boyish looking guy. But I think he's like super cool. He does remind me of Terry McGuinness, bro. Batman of the future. He got that. And him, the aesthetic of him with Sting, even if I'm a casual fan, I'll be like, hey, who's that guy? Like cool, really like very brooding character kind of thing. So he will be a star for sure. If he isn't already, right?
You mean he's not Sting's son?
I want to have like
At this point now, when you see them together in the rafters, right? Doesn't it look like Sting
like the dad
and the boy like, hey, okay, boy, you see, this is what we do. Yeah, like
I want to see that short film of Sting and Darby Allen talking, like having like a father and son conflict at home or something at the cave. You don't love me, Sting. You're not my dad.
Who's your daddy? Say I'm your dad. Oh god. Okay, no, we cannot book. Yeah. So there you go. That's AEW's All Out. I mean, you know, what we said being said, it's still going to be an exciting card, I think. You know, the wrestlers are going to show out. CM Punk is going to get a huge pop, and well, I'm like, yeah, it just seems a bit bloated to me. That's it. But other than that, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think the potential that show matches that can steal the card, definitely, personally for me, like El Idolo, Park.
Stop it, bro. Paul White versus QT Marshall is the 10-star match of the year. It's the show stealer right there.
Oh my god. The only 10 stars I want to see is on QT Marshall's head after taking a knockout.
Cool. Guess what? Hey, is this on a Sunday or Monday morning?
No, it's on a Sunday, so we will be watching it live right after the show.
So that means, barring any sort of like delay or they go overtime, right? We will be back to talk about the pay-per-view live on stream next Monday. Please come join us as we react to All Out.
Yeah, man. And hopefully there will be some awesome surprises, awesome debuts, a lot of takeaways, a lot of things to talk about, a lot of talking points post All Out. Definitely you guys have to join us.
Hell yeah. Tell you what, if you guys came in late and missed out anything, we talked about the NXT logo. I know some people brought it up in chats like, hey, you know, in case you missed that, our thoughts and all that are on the VOD, so you can watch it anytime on YouTube. Do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, or you can just listen to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform, be it Spotify, be it Apple Podcasts, and whatnot lah.
Yeah. Going forward into September, post All Out, like, of course, next week we're going to have a All Out review. Extreme Rules is coming in September as well. We're going to see what happens with whether it's going to be Roman Reigns with Finn Balor going forward, or is it going to be Brock Lesnar?
Bro,
and
we know Brock Lesnar is going to hold out for Crown Jewel.
Okay, let me 2 more months we can enjoy without Brock Lesnar's hair.
Yes.
Yeah, but okay, and in terms of special shows, there won't be a loud period in September on the podcast at least. We're gonna have a special guest.
Hell
so that will
yeah.
be coming out in 2 weeks' time. So please, guys, tune in to us every Monday during lunchtime. We're gonna be talking wrestling all night long.
Yeah. Hit us up on our social media as well if you want to slide into our DMs. Kick to the Gut on Facebook, on Instagram, and yeah, we'll catch up with you then. You can find out all about if we, have guests, whatnot. We'll promote it on those channels lah. That being said, thank you so much once again for spending your Monday afternoon with us. Please go back to whatever it is you were doing. I know, back to life, back to reality. I'm gonna go get my lunch now. I haven't had my lunch yet. I don't know about you, bro.
Very, very hungry, bro. But you know what? At the end of the day, I feel like I like the fact that wrestling is part of a conversation right now. Like, put yourself to your shoes, bro. 5 years ago, would you think that you will have to be able to have water cooler conversations with people on social media about wrestling, to be able to do podcasts and to openly talk about profess our love to wrestling, bro?
You know this, bro. You know the answer to this. Wrestling was like my dirty little secret. Like, lucky worse than watching porn. I see people talk about watching porn online, no? You know what I'm saying? But now I'm out in the open, proudly, declaring my love for most of pro wrestling, especially Paul White versus QT Marshall.
Yeah. So I hope, guys, whoever is listening to the podcast, those of you who are joining in on the chat, like, it doesn't have to be a dirty little secret anymore. This is our community, pro wrestling community here in Singapore.
It's okay. We can be friends. All right, we're talking nonsense. We're going to go eat already. Okay, bye. Have a good one.
Take care, brothers.
Shit.